Rogers TV Durham would like to acknowledge that we are on the treaty and traditional territory of the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation of the Mississauga Nation. May we respectfully honor the knowledge and understanding of the Indigenous stewards of these ancestral lands and ensure that the voices of the First Peoples are represented in our collections, programs, and services.
The opinions expressed in the following programs are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Rogers nor Rogers TV.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of At the Heart of Business. I'm your host, Judith Tate. At the Heart of Business is a conversation with women in business discussing their challenges and successes. I'd like to introduce our first guest today, Tara. Tara owns a business called Light in You. Welcome, Tara.
Hello, good morning. Welcome.
So,
I don't know why I said that.
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Well,
Okay.
You're welcoming me too. That's awesome. So tell us about Light in You.
Light in You is a business that came out of my own healing journey that I went on. And it's about creating space, holding space for people to be able to get in touch with and possibly rediscover the light within themselves and live from expressing more of a heart-centered way.
So what exactly does it mean to hold space for someone? Explain that.
For me, holding space is creating a container where you can fully be your authentic self. There's a lot of societal pressure for us when we're out and about interacting with people that when someone asks if you're okay, you smile and say yes. And sometimes we're not. Sometimes we are suffering. So creating those spaces for people to allow their full authenticity to come through, to allow themselves to express whatever they need to express while they're in an appointment, while they're connecting with their energy. I always tell people it's okay to express whatever needs to come out today. This space is just for you, connecting into yourself.
That's great. I love it. And what are all the services that you provide?
I offer Reiki and Akashic Record healing journeys and also spinal energetics.
Okay, those are very different forms of, I guess, wellness. So a lot of people know what Reiki is. I'm just getting familiar with spinal energetics and Akashic records. So can you explain what those two are specifically?
Mm-hmm. So the Akashic records are a metaphysical library that has a specific vibration that we can connect into that connects with all of your soul history. It gives clients a different perspective on their life because they have had different experience before that is shaping the patterns and the repeating things. And usually people come to me to go on these journeys when they're feeling stuck in a certain way and they don't understand why they're not able to move forward. So it helps bring a cognitive understanding of what might be holding them back and also helps reframe different ways that they can move forward differently in life. So I feel like it's like this energetic healing that comes through, but also a deeper understanding of yourself. And usually the information that you receive in the Akashic records will always feel deeply true in your body, in your soul. It's usually not things that are very surprising. You are usually just receiving a deep confirmation that your intuition is correct. So it's a beautiful thing to see people believe and trust in the little nudges that they've been getting as it comes through. And spinal energetics is more of a somatic modality. So we work with energy, but we're helping release stuck emotion or stagnancy, any stagnant energy within the body but it's not a cognitive process. So we're working more with the subconscious part of the brain, and we're able to release things that you don't have to know where it's from. So there's there can be a lot of release in the sessions. There might be emotions coming out, but when the emotions come out, it truly feels like energy in motion, because it's not connected to any certain thing that people have been through in their life. So it's really, really beautiful. And sometimes we're able to release things that we may have suppressed and don't remember. And it's something that's creating habits or patterns or limiting beliefs in our life. And it might not be something that we can address with a therapist. It's releasing those things that we don't actually have to remember. So
Oh, wow.
I think it's amazing. It's personally helped me so much on my journey, because I've gone the therapy route and even somatic therapy, but sometimes there's things that are very hard for us to access in our mind that we may, or it could be from a past life. It could be from an ancestral trauma that has got passed down through your DNA. And it really isn't a memory that you would have from this life, but you're still able to release it and set it free.
Wow. This is a very deep topic. Okay, so tell us about your journey. What's your why? How did you get to doing this type of wellness?
For me, I was a busy mom, like a really busy mom. I have 2 children, and they have food allergies, and there was a lot of like added extra things, but also just having a career, a full-time corporate career, and getting my kids to school in the morning, helping them with homework, getting to activities, doing all the things. I felt like a hamster on a wheel. Every morning I was doing the same thing, trying to keep up. And like always, the things on my to-do list didn't all get checked off. And I felt this huge void, this lack of depth, of feeling, of knowing myself, of being able to be there for my children instead of just providing for them. I really felt that I lacked the depth of connection in my life. So I went on my own personal healing journey to search for this connection for myself. And I just was amazed of the impact that it had on me, that I knew that I needed to share it with other people. I did a couple of years of doing it as a side hustle, evenings and weekends, because even though I was a busy mom, I couldn't not share it. So I'm so happy today to be able to offer this service on a full-time basis and share these spaces with people to allow them to connect deeper with themselves and really have spaces where they can.
That's amazing. And was there anything specific that made you choose to do, like, say, the Akashic Records readings? Like, was there anything specific that made you choose that? And how would you even know that that's what you're looking for?
Yeah, I just happened to come across a podcast where they talked about it, and it just came into my life in the time that I was searching and trying to understand more about why I do this and why I, at the time, am scared to show up fully in my life, why I am not feeling empowered. All of these questions that I had deep within myself, I thought, I don't want to go to someone, to them to tell me, like, I want to know my soul information. So that's how it talked to me, because I wanted to really connect deeper, to have more compassion for myself. That's a big thing for me, of having more compassion for my journey and eventually moving out of some victimhood where I sat a lot in. So the Akashic Records just spoke to me. and I couldn't get it out of my head. I followed this podcast for a very long time until I booked my own session. And when I had my own session, she had told me a little bit about ancestral healing, and that was kind of a big part of my life journey. And I didn't even understand that. So I knew I needed to dig further. And when I found out how to learn to read the Akashic Records, it was incredible. It was very, very instant, and it came naturally, which I had no idea that it would. So I'm led to believe that I've done this work in previous lives, because it just was so strong and powerful when I first tapped in.
That's amazing. And what kind of challenges have you had doing this business?
Well, I think my own personal challenges doing this as a side hustle, it kind of allowed me to realize that it would be possible for me, but also it was a really big, scary transition to go from a full-time corporate job to an entrepreneur. So I actually experienced a burnout, and I see it now as a huge redirection in my life. And it was hard to go back to being a full-time entrepreneur, or not even go back, but go be a full-time entrepreneur and believe that I could do this work full-time as I was healing myself. And it's a beautiful thing now that I look back, because I'm able to really connect and support people that are going through similar situations and transitions. But in the moment, there was times that I lost a lot of trust in myself and my capacity for things. And it was just the redirection that I needed to adjust my priorities and make myself a priority. Because as a busy mom, and as many people might feel too, it's hard. It's hard to make ourselves a priority. And part of doing this business is that I need to make myself a priority so that I can hold that space for other people.
That's good. I love it. So real quick, walk us through, like if someone wanted to come to you for a reading, walk us through what that process looks like.
There's a link on my website. They can book a virtual appointment. We can meet on Zoom. I also do appointments at Osteogenie in Whitby. It's an osteo clinic on Brock Street downtown. So there I do all of my services: Reiki, spinal energetics, and Akashic Record journeys in person. But these can all be done virtually as well. We can connect, and you can be in the comfort of your own home and experience this right in the safety of. Sometimes I meet people right in their own bed.
Oh, wow. That's service.
Yeah, for spinal energetics, you can just lay down on your own bed and experience. So it's a really cool thing to be able to have that available both ways. I'm loving seeing people in person, and then also allowing for people to feel secure in their own space if that feels better to them.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Tara.
Thank you.
And to our viewers, stay tuned. We'll be chatting with Martez of Hands on Health next.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Tuesday Tuesdays on City TV.
We find missing people who have slipped through the cracks, and we bring them home.
We need to talk about how you figured out this location before us cops.
We all have our secrets. You kidnapped a child.
And you kidnapped a man.
I tell you what to help with, and you help with it. You can't manipulate me.
But I did. I'm your partner.
No partners. You're a monster.
Found. All new. Tuesdays, 10, 9 Central on City TV or stream it on City TV Plus.
You're watching Rogers TV.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to At the Heart of Business. I'm your host, Judith Tate. At the Heart of Business is a conversation with women in business discussing their challenges and successes. I'd like to welcome our next guest, Martez, owner of Hands On Healthcare. Welcome, Martez.
Thank you, Judith, for inviting me. It's an honor to be here.
That's great. So tell us about Hands On Healthcare. You do a lot of stuff. So tell us all about it.
Okay. I've been doing this now for 30 years. My focus has always been on stress and trauma, and it's been from a somatic body-oriented perspective, primarily massage therapy and integrative craniosacral therapy. However, I am an educator. I do help courses on stress and trauma and self-care and burnout as well for agencies as well. And I do TRE, which is now, stands for Tension Trauma Releasing Exercises, which is another self-care modality that I teach people to use to help to reduce stress from their body that has built up over time.
That's wonderful. Great. So you sound like you do a lot of stuff, like you're teaching, like where do you do all this? Like do you teach at a college or?
I actually been teaching, I used to teach at Centennial College and Durham College in the massage therapy program. More recently, what I've been doing is teaching for an agency that is affiliated with the City of Toronto. It's for social workers who work with the homeless sector, Toronto Hospitals Training Center. And I teach the stress, compassion fatigue, burnout, and self-care, and integrative approach for helping professionals. So it's open to all helping professionals, people who work in very high stress environments.
Yes.
I'm going to be, hopefully soon, I'm getting a location, hopefully, to be able to offer classes and workshops and some retreats. I'm actually going to be doing my first retreat this September in Malta. It's kind of like a healers type of retreat. Yeah. So that's
nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, what type of a retreat is that going to be?
Well, it's going to be a combination of some self-care, doing meditations, doing TRE specifically. We're going to be also going to the different archaeological sites in Malta. There's a lot of history there, and we're going to be doing a sound bowl meditation in one of the caves over there with a psychotherapist over in Malta. So there's a lot of great things and some R&R as well.
So can anyone just sign up for this?
I hope to be able to bring it again next year, but yes, absolutely. That's my, yeah. This is our first try. We were supposed to do it in 2020, and it got basically postponed to this coming September. So. Oh,
okay. Oh, yeah. Sounds good.
Yes.
And what got you into this type of care? What's your why?
What's my why? Well, back in 1987, I was in a catastrophic motor vehicle accident. Most of my right side was broken. And I learned firsthand the importance of an integrative approach to healing. Back then, I didn't know anything about the body. And so I was kind of, plunged into it. And as a result of all the great therapists that I had, I found that there was a hands-on healing modalities such as massage and craniosacral that I saw the most progress with. And I decided to become a therapist because of my lived experience. And I became very passionate about learning about stress and trauma. And I also was diagnosed with PTSD. And so that was my big catalyst because back then the prognosis was bleak and I wasn't really wanting to buy into that. So I started to study about stress and trauma, specifically post-traumatic stress from a body-oriented perspective. And I was able to heal myself from it. So I wanted to then help others on their healing journey.
Oh, that's amazing. So what, like a car accident, that's just horrific, and it's life-changing. What is or describe the impact that incident or that moment had on you, and how your work has helped you to improve your life?
Okay, so
or to move forward.
So in fact, that was the first one in 1987. I've actually experienced 4 car accidents, none of which were my fault. And each one taught me a little bit more about the treatment and the integration of working on the body, the mind, and the spirit. So that integrated perspective. And I sometimes jokingly say I was quadruple blind tested that this work actually is effective. So I lived it myself and learned how to self-regulate my nervous system. So it wasn't in the heightened state of hypervigilance all the time and reactivity all the time. And so it was became my passion to help others. If I could heal it, then I wanted to help others learn how to do it as well.
Oh, that's amazing. And what are some of the challenges that you've had with this business?
Some of the challenges have been that, having, especially after the last one, I was diagnosed with complex PTSD and fibromyalgia. So being self-employed, there was times where I wanted to, give up, but I couldn't give up. But it gave me more of a drive to learn more. And I learned also more so at that point about post-traumatic growth. And I recently did some work, and I realized there's I've received a post-traumatic grace from that. There's a wisdom and a learning that only came from those experiences. And that was, without those challenges, I would not have, been able to achieve the other side. And oftentimes when we deal with stress and trauma, we can get stuck in that state because we can get into a cycle where we're not releasing the stress and trauma from our body naturally. And so TRE is also a really great way to be able to release that from the body. So it was, in combination with that, that's what kind of kept me going, and my desire to help others not live a life of, this horrible prognosis, especially with PTSD, because oftentimes it can feel like, a one-way street to a dead end. And that's not the case. There's a lot of growth and wisdom and grace that can come from it.
So PTSD is it seems to be on the rise. And I don't know if it's just there's more of it or people are just more aware. But how is it that, well, actually, maybe you can answer that. What is it? Is there just more, or people just more aware, more education?
Well, I think what it is that also too, it's not necessarily that there's more. There is more education, there's more awareness, and we're recognizing that it's not. When I first was diagnosed back in the 80s, it was really kind of military. That was the focus of PTSD. But also too, the more experiences we have, the compounded stressors and traumas make us more susceptible. So, and especially with what we've gone through in the last 3 years, stressor after stressor, and not being able to release it from our body goes into that hyper state or a hypo state of activation of our sympathetic nervous system, which is our stress response, our stress reaction. And so if we're not dissipating the stressors, and then that keeps amping up our nervous system. So we are more susceptible to experiencing post-traumatic symptoms.
Okay, so how would someone know that they need you? Because I know a lot of people, they have PTSD, they're seeing a counselor, psychologist, psychiatrist, but your type of care is very different. How would someone know that you are what they need? Well,
for one thing, stress and trauma is held in the body. Right. Yeah. And if we're just doing it from a cognitive talk therapy perspective, it has its benefits. However, if we're not discharging and releasing from the body, then we're going to still kind of be filling our bucket of stress, right? And still becoming activated. So this is a very gentle, with craniosacral is me working hands-on with the person to learn how to, regulate their nervous system. But with the TRE, it's something that I teach them. It's a self-care tool to help them bring on our body's natural recovery mechanism, where all mammals have this recovery response. It's called a neurogenic tremor, where we shake. So if you've ever seen dogs or cats shaking in a thunderstorm, then you've experienced or witnessed somebody this neurogenic tremoring. So that releases the stress and trauma, and you don't have to necessarily talk about it. So how you would know is if you're always in that state of stress, if you're getting activated over the littlest things, that means that basically your stress level is at the high end of the bucket, and little things will actually spill your bucket. So what this work does is gets it out of the body and keeps our body at a level of like half, where you can, if any stressor comes in, then you can manage it. Or when it does come in, you can learn how to regulate through different techniques that I share with you and teach you to help bring you back to a better state of homeostasis and balance and relaxation in your body, your mind, but also your spirit.
Oh, okay. So if someone has worked with you for, say, like, what's the average number of sessions that someone would do with you?
That's hard to say because everybody is unique in their experience. Sometimes it could be a few sessions and sometimes it can take longer. So I don't like to put any restrictions on that. I'm open to working with a person for however long they need me to work with them, whether that be a few treatments or, more long-term.
And then once they're done their sessions with you, regardless of how long it is, do they come back, or is that it? They're good to go?
Part of what I do is I teach nervous system health, helping you to understand your nervous system, what happens when we get activated, tools for you to self-regulate to get back into the more calmer, balanced states, and teaching you also this tools such as TRE and other, breathing modalities and other somatic modalities to help you to regulate your own nervous system. That's the key. Is I want to empower you to be able to empower yourself.
That's awesome. What are some of the wins that you've had?
Oh, lots of wins. The ones that I'm really, really pleased with is with the first responders and paramedics that I have been working with, seeing their transformation, especially with the TRE, because it's not only just them. These people have been able to, really reduce their medications, if not be able to get off of medications. And also their family life has improved, because when a person goes through that level of stress, it's not just themselves, it ripples out to the family. So for me, when I see those people transform, that is the big win and what keeps me going, because it's not just that person, it's their family. And I believe that even for myself, the work that I do constantly makes it that I have my self-care to keep at my optimal level, because when you're healed, you want to help others heal. And when there's a saying, hurt people, but heal people. So we heal one at a time by ourselves, but also it reflects out with our family as well. So eventually it has that ripple effect. And that's the big win for me.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And how would you say that you've been resourceful in your business?
Self-care. Self-care is key, because otherwise especially with entrepreneurs, we tend to take it all on, and it's on in our head 24/7, as you know, and it's the self-care, doing the self-care, and I think of self-care as safe, effective use of self. It is not an indulgence. It is imperative for us to take care of ourselves so we could be at our optimal level, to be able to be at our best, to be able to continue this work and to be with, help translate that to our clients as well.
That's great. Thank you so much, Martez, for joining us today.
It's my pleasure, my honor. Thank you so much, Judith.
It's great. And to our viewers, thank you so much for watching, and tune in another time for another episode for At the Heart of Business.
Call the Rogers TV Viewer Response Line email us, or connect with us on social media.